All right, I'm back here. I just unwrapped my pot from yesterday. This is day 3 of hand building a vase. Probably going to be a 4-day process. Just like yesterday, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paddle and smooth out my previous day's work a little better now that it's a little stiffer. Yesterday, when I went like this, the whole thing would wobble around. Today, it doesn't wobble all the way around, which means it's ready to be paddled a little bit. So I showed yesterday how I would do this without a banding wheel. Today, I'm going to use my banding wheel to do my paddling. If you don't have a banding wheel and it's really frustrating you, I know it's not ideal, but they do make small, like little cake spinning, turning things, like turntables or lazy Susans on Amazon or on eBay. You can get them for about $10. And you could buy a small portable one or a disposable one, you know, like it's like cheap plastic. It doesn't need to spin very well because all you're basically doing is wanting it to turn like this. So up to you. Like I said, you don't need one, but it does make the process go a little faster. Pushing out from the inside as well when I'm doing this to make sure that I'm not just hitting it in. This paddling process is really important. It helps join the clay and blend it together, as well as getting rid of the dents. If I have any really large dents, I put my finger on the inside and kind of push out gently, and that helps get rid of those dents a little bit. Again, still I have a whole cleanup process that I'll do on the entire piece once it's done. This is just kind of maintenance work. It'll get even smoother and even cleaner when I get closer to being finished with the form. Okay. Now I'm going to take my metal rib, all right, I'm going to move it back down from my banding wheel. To scratch the surface of the last coil and do a thorough job. I'll scratch a little bit on the inside and on the outside. All right. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of water, just a small amount, on that seam. Okay. So, when I put this coil on the inside, I actually want it to rest completely on the inside edge. Like I said yesterday, it's a lot easier to bring the coil down than it is to bring it up, or bring it out. So it's easier to bring it out than it is to bring it in, rather. So I can put it a little further in than maybe I think I want, and then I can always just kind of pull it out a little bit if it goes in a little too much, but I don't think this is going in too much at all. Cool. All right. I'll blend my coils together. And now you can see that the coil is resting on the inside edge. Now this is where, when I start to join it together, I can blend from the bottom up. It'll maybe be a little easier on the outside because it's sitting wider. So I'm supporting from the inside and the outside, and I'm bringing this clay from the outside up against the wall of my coil. So I'm actually kind of blending the pot into the coil this time, opposed to the coil into the pot as much. I'm going to make sure that I keep it bent in. Okay. And now I'm going to blend down with my thumb the coil into the pot on the inside. As I start doing the inside, it's really important that I can try to see what I'm doing to make sure I fully blend it. As this gets narrower, it does get harder to blend the inside because you can't see it as clearly. And it starts getting darker on the inside because we're making it narrower. It's still very important though to blend and to make sure you get it right. Eventually we won't be able to make it as smooth on the inside when it gets narrower where we can't really fit our hand fully in there. Not there yet though. Okay. So now, take my rib, same way as I did before. I'm just kind of smoothing down a little bit. I want to make sure I keep this going in. Put my hand on the bottom of it so it doesn't sag or start to collapse. The size of your pot and the wetness of your clay will really determine how far we can go with this process. If it starts getting really floppy, I'll have to wait to finish the neck until the next day. So I'm assuming that I won't be able to finish this one in this making session. When I say a day for each one, this is day 3 or day 2 or day 1, I really mean session 1, 2, or 3. Taking a 2 or 3 hour break, leaving it uncovered, a 4 or 5 hour break, depending on maybe the weather, how thick your coils are, really will make a difference. You don't need to wait for 24 hours with it wrapped. That's just what I'm doing. Okay. These coils are getting shorter and shorter. So when you're adding your coils, try to use your longest coils in the middle, and then if you've got some shorter coils that you took home or that you've re-rolled, use those last, or when you get to your narrow part or at the beginning. It'll just be a little bit more efficient. I find this to be the most difficult part of the process because when you start bringing it in, it starts getting really hard to keep it round and symmetrical and even. The shoulder area is tricky. So I would recommend not rushing it, maybe putting on a coil or two at a time and letting it dry in between. Don't rush this part, slow this part down. The beginning is pretty simple usually for most shapes. It's the going in that's the tricky bit, at least for me. I'm doing this motion here. Well, you can't see what my inside hand's doing. Go. All right, so now that mine has gone in a little bit, I can start going up and out to finish the shape. All right, now that I've attached it, before I do any angle changing or smoothing, I just want to blend the seam really well on the inside. So I'm using my rib and just kind of smearing my finger marks away, trying to keep it as smooth as possible on the inside. One thing I've noticed is my pot gets taller. It would be easier if it wasn't sitting up so high, or if I was a little higher up. So maybe if I was sitting on the table, it might be easier. That's better. Okay, now the inside is smoothed out. And start working first on trying to make this thing round again. It's getting a little off round because it's getting soft. This is probably where I should stop for today. Might go one more coil. So I need this to curl out a little bit. So you can see I'm leaning it out with my fingers on the top and just gently scooping in on the outside, and that's going to give me a little bit of a curve here. All right, so it's obviously not perfect. It's still very wet. There's a little bit of cleanup I could still do, but you can see it doesn't fit my form exactly. It's a little bit off, but I mean, you can see it's generally the same shape. I think also through the process of shrinking, you know, like the bottom shrinks before the top does because it's significantly drier down here than here. It doesn't fit quite as well, but you can see that the stencil did help me keep it symmetrical and even. And now I have my pot made here. Remember that we had a minimum height requirement. This thing exceeds that. It looks like 17 inches tall. So we were looking for something that was, I think 14 inches tall was the requirement. So this will definitely beat that. I think I said 12 inches, so you should make it 14. So this is 17, so it'll definitely be 12. A lot of cleanup obviously to do in paddling and smoothing, but I'm gonna leave that for tomorrow because it'll be easier to clean up most of this stuff. I can still get on the inside with my hand with this shape and do a little bit of work on the inside to smooth some things out. But this is generally my shape. Tomorrow I'm gonna show the cleanup process, and then we'll put handles on it and then talk about decoration. Thanks for watching.